Welcome to the LEADERish podcast, leadership lessons straight up with your hosts, Dr. Jen and Regina.
Hey, Jen, how's it going?
Hey, Regina. It's Friday. I couldn't be happier. It's been a long but good week, and I'm exhausted. How are you?
It's been such a good week. I am so exhausted too. In fact, I almost was like, Jen, I don't think I can do it today.
Me too. But here we
so
are.
Close. But we're here. Yeah.
And we're going to bring it.
Oh, it's already been brought in.
I love it. We were just talking, we haven't even really gotten to talk to each other at all because we've been so busy and busy, all good stuff. But this is going to be fun because we need to also connect with each other.
Yeah, it's so true. We talk almost every day, at least via text, if not full conversations or just a quick 3-minute conversation because something's going on at work that we need to catch each other up with or personal. And this week there has been none of that.
Only one text message from me to you that was, "Hi, I miss you." That is all.
And I think my response was, "I miss you too." And that was it. That was all we could muster.
Yep. That was it.
What a crazy week. It's nice to kind of relax and slow down just a little bit on a late Friday afternoon before my kids get off the bus.
And a fall Friday at that.
It's cold. It's chilly.
I love it.
Yeah. It's 55 degrees today. So
it's wonderful.
We are definitely getting in the cool zone.
So my favorite segment is a little bit lame today because we're both exhausted, but the drink of the day. What do you have in your cup today?
Okay. Well, I have it. I did share with you that I have a giant Gatorade that I'm almost done with because I'm replacing my electrolytes. But what I didn't share with you is that I also have a second electrolyte drink. And so I have been working on 2 full electrolyte drinks to replace my electrolytes because there has been a bit of celebration over the last 2 days and some of the good stuff that's been going on. So
that's wonderful.
I'm trying to replace all of those electrolytes that the vodka removed from my body.
That is hilarious. I have water also with electrolytes, not for any reason other than I just have water with electrolytes and it's Friday. However, the moment that we finish this podcast, I am getting a giant glass of red wine and I'm going to sit on my balcony in my happy place with Murray, Kitty, and Bear and Tom Purdom if he's home by then. And I'm just going to sit and look in the city and drink red wine.
Yeah, I'm not drinking for days.
Yeah,
that is legit. I will not drink for days.
That's amazing. One of my favorite hobbies and Tom Purdom's favorite hobbies is picking on people when they're hungover. So I will be doing that.
I will not display any weakness.
No weakness.
No weakness, just electrolytes. No vulnerability, no weakness, just electrolytes.
I love it.
Oh,
all right. Let's get into our content today. What are we talking about?
Okay, well, today's topic came from, quite some time ago. We've had this topic on our list for months and months.
And I haven't been ready to talk about it.
Right. But you're ready to talk about it now.
I'm just going to.
And whether it's good or bad, who cares, right? It's going to be great. You're going to rock it. The topic is, are you ignorable?
And what we mean by that is, well, it takes some telling of a story.
Indeed.
So I once was lucky enough. I've been lucky enough to have work with a coach a couple times throughout my career. And this story is from, I guess, a couple coaches ago. And I was working with this coach on a career move and, how do I get to the next level, which at that time I think was senior manager at another company. And how do I do that? So I was talking to this coach and she would ask me what types of conversations I was having with my boss at the time. Is your boss aware of this? And I would always say, yes, of course she's aware. And I would talk to my coach and say, yes, I think it's going to happen like in a month. And then I'm so excited. That's great. And then I would go back to the coach and say, oh, well, it's not going to happen because, somebody went into the role but there's another, opportunity for me. And this went on for a few months before she finally said, but when are you saying I'm ready now? And this has been promised to me a couple of different times. And we kind of went back and forth. And then finally she said, may I give you some feedback? That's when you go, shit.
And you said, hell no.
Exactly. That's when you go, shit. Like, yes, of course you can give me some feedback. And she said, Jen, you are ignorable. And it crushed me. It crushed me because I'm in leadership development. I have been for 15 years and except for, a brief stint, but I was still in OD leadership development, even in the HRBP space. And so it really made me go, I teach people how to advocate for themselves almost all day, every day in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very gut-wrenching realization for me. And I had to process it for a while. When we had our next coaching conversation, she said, Jen, I want to apologize if I came on too strong or was too hard on you. And I'm like, no, I needed to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't years ago, I couldn't ask for what I wanted. Now, the interesting thing is I can advocate for someone else
all day long
and even get rowdy about it. I can't do it for myself. Couldn't. See,
No.
I'm still using the language. I've had to correct myself twice now. I couldn't do it for myself. And I'm still working on it is the truth.
Right.
And so where does that come from? Is it a female thing? Although I've known men that struggle with that as well. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because, we've talked about this several times before. It's people pleasing. It's not rocking the boat. It's not causing trouble. It's not making things about yourself.
Right.
But who's going to do it?
Right. Well, you and I'm sure a lot of folks listening are in places of their careers or roles where they are advocating for other people a lot. Right. And so I think part of it is you use your deposits or you cash in your deposits to advocate for other people. And then there's none left in the bank for you to advocate for yourself. And then for me personally, when I do advocate for myself, I feel like I'm like bragging.
Me too.
And I don't like that. Like I want people to know the good work that I do, but I don't want to be the one to tell them. Like that's very uncomfortable for me to tell someone about my success.
But you have no problem doing it for your team because in our last episode, we talked about credit, and maybe 2 episodes ago, we talked about giving credit to your team and, making sure that people know the good work that they're doing, but we also have to do it for ourselves, which is hard. And something else you just said is sometimes you have to prioritize your own needs over others. And why is that so hard? Because we feel selfish.
Is it part of being a woman? Like, think about it. You watched your mother all of her life put you first.
Yeah.
It's what you know about being a woman.
And I feel like that could be true for men as well, because I feel like men are definitely taught to be I mean, this may have changed a little and shifted a little, hopefully, but you're the provider of the family. Your maybe wants, needs, desires don't matter as much. So I don't know that it's as female related, because I definitely have coached some men on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it does come more naturally for men to be able to advocate for themselves and ask for what they want, I feel like. So
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, it is, and it's not an icky conversation. It's so many, and then there's this really great handful of women that I know too, who it's not icky for them either. Like, advocating for themselves is what they do. And I'm like, but what if you rock the boat? Like, what if your leader isn't pleased with you because your leader doesn't actually know how to deal with this? I mean, I remember recently I had a conversation with one of my leaders. I said, well, I really want to know about A, B, and C, but I'm not going to ask you because I know that puts you in an uncomfortable position. And I thought, darn it. And then I thought, well, I'm not the one to put someone in an uncomfortable position.
it's so true. I frequently, I still feel like that. I frequently do. Now I have amazing, women at work that support me and amazing leaders that support me. And so it's not as big of a challenge. Well, I'll say it's still a challenge for me to advocate for myself, but I feel like good work goes noticed a little more, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, we're fortunate because we work for people who recognize us quite often.
Yes, that's where I was going with that.
Right. Like, I don't think that everyone is in the extremely positive position that we are in.
And I haven't always been, for sure.
Oh, no, me neither. Me neither. In fact, I think it's easier for me to advocate for myself when I'm not in a good position. Like, at one point in my career, I actually went to my boss and laid out my value and contribution to the organization and why I deserved a 10% raise.
Wow. I've never done that ever.
It just dawned on me. I just remembered this was, well, gosh, now probably 12 or 13 years ago that I did that. I put together a whole proposal, and actually, here's the interesting thing. I was part of HR, but she went to the HR generalist, BP or whatever, HR leadership. And she did advocate for me because of this, but they couldn't give me all 10% at that moment. And so they gave me like 6%. And then they gave me another 7% at the merit increase to include my 3% for merit plus the remainder or whatever that was.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah, so they kind of met me halfway, right? And I got every penny that I asked for, and I totally forgot that I did that, but I wasn't happy. So I had nothing to lose.
That's a big difference.
Does that make sense? And
it does.
I needed validation that they were willing to invest in me in order for me to stay. And so then what happened is actually my job became about the money that I was making and them proving that I was valuable and them recognizing that through compensation. And I'm not even that big on compensation. Like, that's not my main motivator. I just want to know that someone's thinking about me and willing to compensate me appropriately.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have done, I totally forgot about that until we just started talking about this, that I did at one point in my life ask for a pretty significant raise.
I still to this day have never done that, but I have talked other people through how to do it.
I know.
Encourage other people to do that.
Yes.
And what's interesting is when you do like lay out, hey, here's my contributions, and it's not like a demand situation.
Uh-uh.
Like it's making an ask for a new role or a career path to when can I get to the next level, or I want to get to the next level, or whatever it is. When you do the work of here's my contributions, like you're doing the work for your leader so they can advocate for you, which is incredible. So
Yes.
you made it easy for your leader to go to HR to say, hey, here's all of Regina's contributions and she's awesome. And here's why we need to do this. And it was easy.
Yeah. And then I think I remember several years later, I still don't know how to ask for a promotion. I'm not going to be, I can hardly coach anybody through that. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But here's probably the reason why I don't know how to ask for a promotion, because I tried to replicate that same thing, probably maybe like 2 years after that. And I had laid out a need in the business that the company I was working for, with my leader and how I could contribute at the next level. So essentially saying I could do this level work, which was the next level up. It would end up being a promotion. And I can contribute in this way. And he told me no. And he not only said no, but he said, no. And as long as you live in Nashville, you can't do anything else for us. You can stay in your job, the job that you're doing right now today, forever. We'd love to have you. You do a great job, but we won't allow you to do a different role.
Interesting. On one hand, it's really great to get clear, direct feedback, guidance, whatever that is.
Yes.
On the other hand, like that's not very motivating. And there probably was something you could have done and served in a different role in that organization. So there's a balance of, hey, sometimes when you ask for feedback or when you ask for something, you're going to get it and you need to be prepared for that.
That's right.
But then also, like, let's just say you're a leader and one of your team members comes to you. Like, what you don't want to do is say, sure, we can do that, without knowing.
When you have no idea if you can.
Can you do that?
Right. A lot of times there's a lot of people involved in those decisions, in compensations decisions, promotion decisions, role change decisions, scope decisions, all of that. It's not just your leader who is making those decisions. And I think sometimes we forget about that. Everyone has a boss.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are or how high up in an organization you're in, unless you own your own company, you have a boss.
And they have a boss, and there's a plan, and resources are scarce, and everybody's concerned about cost, and all of that goes into everything. And, if you're going, if you're having a conversation in, say, June, July, there's already plans in place for stuff like that. And so you have to make a compelling enough argument that this needs to happen now, or why this can happen at the end of the year, or whatever that is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that just from having this conversation, I think what I realized is I got really discouraged from that conversation. I don't think I realized how much it affected me. And I wonder if there's anything in your life that maybe you were an advocate for yourself and then maybe you stopped being. Rejection is kind of a big thing, right? Like it can very much impact us.
It's interesting you say that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I've certainly experienced rejection, but if you were to ask me, do I have a fear of rejection? I would say no, in theory. However, there are actions I take or do not take because of an inherent fear of rejection. So it's easy to say, no, oh no, I don't have fear of rejection, but why wouldn't I advocate for myself? What is the only reason that could possibly be other than a fear of someone saying no, or being perceived as, not a team player, or being disruptive, or, whatever that is. But essentially all that boils down to fear of rejection, right?
Yeah. And isn't rejection just another form of failure?
Yes, it is.
And when you're a pleaser, and you want
Mm-hmm.
to please people, that fear of failure sometimes it's debilitating.
And I think I had a therapy session today because therapy is good and everyone should do it. And I learned a little bit more about my super crazy need to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, I think, comes down to maybe not advocating for myself because I want to be perceived as I'm a high achiever. I am always accomplishing what I set out to accomplish. And if I take time to say, but I think I would feel, but I'm needy. Like I don't want to be perceived as needy. If I'm like, hey, these are my needs. This is what I need. Like, no, my job is to achieve.
Not to need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I actually had that realization right now.
I totally connected with that whole thing, Jen, because you're absolutely right. If I need something, obviously I'm not achieving. Like yeah, I
Yeah,
get
it's
that.
like a achiever is, one of my top 5 on Strengths Finder. Any assessment I've ever taken, Enneagram is like the achiever. Everything is the achiever. There's a whole lot more behind that apparently with my therapist, but I do think that is one reason why I struggle to share what I need
Mm-hmm.
out of any relationship except the relationship with Tom Purnam. But like friends, like family, at work. Yeah, interesting. I don't want to be needy.
Yeah. Don't want to ruffle any feathers. Don't want to put anybody out.
No.
You want to give, and not expect in return.
And where does that come from?
Ugh, who knows? I will say though, I definitely see this more in women
I agree.
than I do in men. I mean, there are definitely men out there that struggle with this kind of pleasing, don't want to ruffle any feathers, fear of rejection kind of mentality. And it's interesting because I'm not afraid to have hard conversations.
I'm not either. That's the weirdest part. Now I am like, I would be uncomfortable saying like, Regina, you hurt my feelings in some way. Or like, I really need you to, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even come up with an example, but I would struggle to have that conversation, but we have tough work conversations all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not about me. It's about
That's right.
the work.
It's about the work. That's right. Yeah. It's the when it's about me and I'm the center is when it gets really hard.
Yes. And
Oh gosh. Oh no. Hold on. Oh, Walter. Oh, we have a problem. Okay. Okay. I got you, buddy. Whew. All right. Are you hurt? Okay, so that happened. Walter got wrapped up in the plug for the internet, and therefore our recording stopped. So, here is what I will say. This was an amazing conversation with Jen and I hope that you have at least one thing to take from that, and I would say that would be to advocate for yourself. And think about how you're filling your cup this week. I know that Jen is getting a puppy, and that is how she is filling her cup with all of the new puppy energy and enthusiasm and waiting for that puppy to join her family. The puppy was born, but she doesn't know if it's a boy or a girl yet. And for me, spending time with my family has been absolutely lovely, and celebrating my sweet Oliver this week on his 8th birthday was amazing. So, if you want to reach out to us, please do. We would love to hear from you at leaderishpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook or on Instagram @leaderish podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And
For today, let's cheers to recording issues and stepping out and advocating for yourself.